You're listening to the Trade Show Insights Podcast, Season 13, Episode 2. I'm your host and exhibit marketing strategist, Marlis Arnold, bringing you tools to improve your exhibit results. On today's episode, brought to you by the Exhibit Marketers Cafe, we're going to hear the behind-the-scenes story of how one company made a big splash at a trade show with 5 little print guys. Recently, I sat in on a webinar. It intrigued me because it was all about taking augmented reality and tying it in with print marketing, and I thought that sounded intriguing. And then when I was sitting in on the webinar and it was all about a trade show campaign, I was even more intrigued. So I am very excited to be able to share this story today with you so that you can learn all about what this brilliant campaign and how they pulled it all together. But our guest today is Emilee Christianson, and Emilee is with Trekk, and she works closely with their clients to develop and execute a wide range of marketing and technology projects, and she draws on her project management skills to keep projects on track and on budget for her clients. And so, Emilee, we are very happy to welcome you today to Trade Show Insights.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Great. Well, I want to start out and have you, because Trekk is a creative services agency, so this was for one of your clients, like I said. So I want you to go ahead and explain a little bit about your client and where they were exhibiting and what their goals were, what their focus was.
Sure. So this particular project was for international paper at Adobe MAX. And Adobe MAX is an annual conference for designers that's, I think it changes locations every year. This time it was in Las Vegas. And International Paper had attended before, but never exhibited. They've done the other big events for that particular market, like How and some of the others. But this one was always really high up on their list, just from the demographic. So these people are important segment for International Paper, just as not the people making the purchase at the end of the day, but they are really big influencers in the process. So their goal in coming to this show was, first of all, try to prove some kind of ROI, make sure that it's a worthwhile investment. It's the first time going to the show. And then secondly, really create a conversation and do something outside the box that would create a memorable experience that would keep their product top of mind for this particular segment. So that's kind of in a nutshell what the whole campaign was trying to do. Stand out, okay, prove ROI, and do something cool.
Well, and definitely, it definitely fits the definition of cool, and it was out of the box. So, tell us what the campaign was and how you put it all together.
Sure. So we created International Paper is obviously a paper company, and this particular group is they work with commercial papers. So we needed to create something that included paper. And was something a little bit different than maybe just a poster, which this audience absolutely loves. So there's nothing wrong with that. But
right,
we want to do something a little bit different. And they didn't have, this was a new show. So there wasn't the huge budget. There wasn't a huge booth. It was just a small 10 by 10 booth. So we wanted something that would be a conversation starter and came up with the idea of what we call the little print guys. And they are a little craft. And so we handed out these flat sheets, and you would punch out the little pieces and build this three-dimensional character. To add another layer of interactivity, the faces of these characters, when scanned with the AR browser app that IP has, would play a message, and it made the little print guys look like they were coming to life and talking to you and telling you to post their picture on social media and just creating a little bit of a dialogue. So it was really fun.
Exactly, and I love how you said. I want to back up and kind of break down a little bit what you said here. First of all, I really want to emphasize the fact this was a 10 by 10 booth. This was not some big mega booth. You were not, this was not the main attraction on the show floor. This was a little bitty booth, and by having those print guys in the booth and doing all the extra engagement with the social media and the augmented reality, which I guess we should back up a little bit on that too. Augmented reality, for those who aren't familiar with that concept, is where, and you can probably define it better than I can, but you're using, like you said, you're using a marker or some kind of a visual when the phone or the other device is pointed at the marker. It, like you said, brings it to life and it becomes a video. So I just think it was so clever on so many levels because you didn't just have one style of print guy either, right?
Right, yeah. So there were, this again was a creative audience. So we created a family of these little print characters. So there was CMYK and then printer marks. So we had cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, which first of all is just speaking the language of these creatives, like they see those colors, they know, oh, it's CMYK. And then printer marks, which is just kind of speaks more to the paper printer element of it. And we wanted to have 5 so they'd have a new one each session that the booth was open, the exhibit hall was open. So that's why we went with the 5. But we gave them each a different personality. So magenta was a little bit sassy. Cyan was kind of cool, and he was blue, obviously, so he was a little bit more relaxed. Yellow was kind of a gamer. Black was some retro inspiration and kind of voice. And then printer marks, which is my voice, was just, I don't know, I guess normal. But, yeah, so they each had all these different personalities to make them unique. And really our goal in making so many different ones and having one for each session was to make sure that people felt like they had to have them all. Like if you're a creative and you just have CMY, then you're a little bit bummed. I want CMYK. I want the whole collection. So, and we did see that really did happen. We had to make sure that we were, saving some so that we could take some home because we had brought everything we had to the show. And so we didn't want to give out everything, and we almost ran out of cyan. I think there was only like maybe 50 left, and we printed over 4,000 so of each.
Wow.
So, yeah, it ended up being, they went really, really fast.
Wow. Well, and I love that aspect, too, that you had the whole collection, and so people were trying to come back and collect them all. So it kept bringing people back to the booth. It wasn't just, because the problem, what I always tell exhibitors is you don't want something that inspires a scoop and run mentality where they just grab the giveaway and off they go. But they kept coming back and re-engaging with the exhibit. And you also had signage there explaining, too, right?
Right, yeah. So we didn't want to give everything away. Obviously, we wanted to have a little bit of teasing of what was to come. So we had just a sign explaining, hey, there's more than meets the eye, basically here. There's augmented reality. So people, they wanted to grab one because they wanted to build it, but they're like, well, what they are? What am I missing here? There's more to this than just this print character. So they would demo that in the booth, and then once they kind of learned how it would work, they'd come back and, oh, what's the message this time? And the messaging was always fun and on point with the personality of each of the pieces, but they spoke more about engagement. So they were giving a request, if you will. And so they were asking people to post their picture on social media or to, shoot a video of them. And that was actually how we used the contest to select. So we had 5 characters. We had little versions, and then we had some big versions as well that were about twice the size. And there were only a few of those. So if they listened to the message that their little print character was saying to them, that would encourage them to post on social media so that they could enter to win one of the big characters.
And so then that's what the prize was for posting on social media.
Right. Yep. We selected a few winners each day or each session.
Mm-hmm. And so then how did you handle, so like you started the day with science, so then when science session was done, you just packed away the extras of those and then it was no longer available, or how did that work?
Yeah, so with Cyan we did, because those went so fast, we packed him away totally. The next day we did, or the next session we did magenta, and then by the third session we just put magenta, yellow, and we just started putting them all out because we just couldn't keep up with it. And there were some individuals who were really, they had only bought like a one-day thing, and they really were like bummed that they wouldn't be able to get them all. And so we kept some back, printer marks, and I think printer marks we held back till the very last day. But the others we laid out a little bit more quickly, just so that people could make sure they did get them all. And still to the very last session, with shows, people tend to leave early. They don't stay always the whole time. Mm-hmm. And if they do stay the whole time, they don't always come back to the exhibit halls. But we had steady traffic throughout the whole thing. So we knew we'd accomplished our goal. We wanted to make sure people had fun with it and didn't feel like they were gypped, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like you said, for the people that were one day only pass, that is kind of tough how to handle that situation. So I think you were smart to stay flexible on some of those things.
Right. Yep.
So, I also should mention that I know that we're kind of losing a little bit in the translation here by just having an audio podcast, but don't worry, I've got pictures, and I also have a video that you can watch that shows a little bit more about the print guys. And if you go to tradeshowinsights.com/print guys, you can see all of those photos and get a better feel for what they actually look like and how cute they were and what personality. And they all had like little subtle nods within their design too that I thought was really clever.
Yeah, they had their quirks. They were definitely not typical corporate kind of feel.
No.
So if you look closely, you'll see some little Easter eggs on each of the characters.
Well, and I love which one was it that had the 8675409?
Yeah, that was Black. He's a little old retro Nokia phone, and he's got his pager arm that has a number. So yeah, so it's just little details like that, I think. And it showed that you were really in touch with the audience, because not only was it CMYK and printer marks, which were definitely, kind of an inside joke with the audience, but it also the other little things, the other little nods that were added within the designs that made them, more quirky and not, like you said, nothing corporate about it. Right. Yeah, and it was, it was a while. We had we'd showed IT, the designs, and we talked through them, and then about halfway through the project, they're like, wait a second, we're still finding new things on these guys that we didn't catch before. Like, can you explain this? What is this? Like, Magenta's arm is one of her arms is a different color, and that's actually the remote for her face, which is a TV. And then there's some books that are underneath her, kind of like a TV stand. And then there's under Cyan, there is just some little cartridges that are cassettes. And those are all phrases that are specific to, like I said, quirky phrases. Kern me tight is, Kern is a creative term. Just made it sound like a song. So they all got their own little quirky elements. Definitely.
definitely. Well, and then talking about the whole idea of having these augmented reality messages, videos, those are something that you can continue afterwards too, right? That wasn't something that ended with the show.
Right, yeah. There were really two huge benefits that we saw with AR, and the first was, one, the ability to track something. So we weren't just, we could track the amount of interaction even as they left the show, which is always interesting because you think, is anyone actually reading or, like, using what I'm giving out at these shows? And so we were able to track, okay, how many people are actually using the AR, looking at these after the show has ended, and we were really amazed by that amount of interaction. And then,
can you share some of those statistics with us?
Sure. So there were, let's see, about 450 or so new app downloads, like between the show and then up till after the show, and then over 12,000 scans, actually closer to 13,000 scans. And when I say scan, I mean they pointed the phone at the print guy and then watched the video, the little animation that brought the character to life. So over 12,000, and the show's
Wow.
on 3 days. And then most of these scans actually happened the last day of the show and then after, which is pretty astounding because, that's a lot of people engaging.
That is.
Watching.
It's a phenomenal amount of response. And actually, when you think about it, the after is not that surprising because that's when everybody was taking them home and they were showing them to their family and people in their office
Right.
or whatever. It's like, oh, watch what this little guy can do,
Exactly. And if you think about it, we only had, or not only, but we had an amazing amount of traffic in the booth. It was about 1,500 people, which is great. But then you look at the number of scans, and this is a number of scans per person.
Definitely.
That's happening here. So, yeah. And then what was the second part of your question? Sorry. The AR.
And making it good for the long haul. So you can use it different ways.
So, yeah. So the cool thing here is that we can update that message as often as we want. So now if we wanted to send out a special Valentine's Day message to all the people who have these little print guys, we could maybe nudge them, send them an email, say, hey, scan Magenta, see what she has to say about Valentine's Day. And then seamlessly present a new video with new content saying maybe like, hey, post my picture, take me on a date and show me, tag IT and show me around town or, something like that. We can update that as often as we want and keep that content fresh, which is another cool perspective. Keeping the life, if you will, of these little guys really extends their life.
Well, and again, it's something that's cute and clever, and I'm willing to bet that there's quite a few little print guys sitting around in designers' offices.
Yeah, I hope so. I think there is. We've seen some pictures. Definitely in our office. We have a collection in our office.
I bet. Well, and you probably have the large ones and the little ones all lined up together.
Exactly. Yep, we do. Their whole family.
And the pictures that people posted, again, you'll be able to see some of this when you go to tradeshowinsights.com/printguys. But you can see, some of them are pictures people took with their kids playing with the print guys, and some of them are doing fun things like, walking around the convention center or tucked into the hotel bed or, so people obviously were having a lot of fun. And this was, it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you're familiar with the Flat Stanley and Flat Stella.
Yep.
That kids do, where they take them around. I actually, my niece gave me her Flat Stella one year, and I traveled all over to all different kinds of trade shows and conferences with Stella. But, taking pictures in all these interesting places, and, I think it just, it had a lot of, what do I want to say, personal interaction. People felt a personal connection to these little guys.
Yeah, we gave them personalities so that they could have relationships. It would be like real, you felt an affection for each of them for various reasons. And that was something we were pleasantly surprised just about with this campaign as a whole. Was we knew the designers would love it, we knew the audience there would love it, but just hadn't even thought about the kids. Honestly, this market is not kids at all, and the designers are typically younger. Not to say that they're not, they don't have kids, but that just wasn't a thought on our mind. And then we started seeing all of these social media pictures come in of people bringing them home to their kids and snuggling with them and taking family pictures with them, and it was just a lot of fun, and it was really rewarding. And the designer who did these, Mike, and he has a few kids too, and so he was, it touched his heart seeing all the little kids holding his little designs. So it was great fun.
Yeah, I think the photos are just adorable. And who knows, you may have inspired a whole new generation of designers because of the project. All these kids get excited and want to know how it was created.
Yeah, what a thought. I hope so.
Well, Emilee, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking time to share this story, because I think it was so creative and so on the mark. I mean, you really, just thinking about, for anybody who's done a 10 by 10 foot booth and thinking about the fact that you had 1,500 people come through that booth, that is just mind blowing in and of itself. And then all the engagement on top of it. So, kudos to Trekk and International Paper for, putting together this great campaign. So any final
thoughts? Thank you
thoughts?
so much. No, it really, it's always fun to push yourself to think outside the box and to think about different ways to communicate and challenge the way that you've done things historically. So we've handed out paper spec sheets forever. Why do we do that? Why can't we do something that's more fun? It may take more time, but it's really a rewarding experience to push yourself to think about, why do we do things the way we do them? Can we do them better? So that's what I would say is the most rewarding part about all of this is trying something new and seeing that it worked.
And I love that advice. It's like, don't be afraid to try something new, and you may just start a whole new trend. So Anyway, thanks again, Emilee, and I really appreciate you being a guest today on Trade Show Insights. And one more reminder, if you want to go see pictures of these cute little print guys, go to tradeshowinsights.com/printguys. Want more tips and tools for your exhibit marketing? Check out the free resources available from the Exhibit Marketers Cafe. Simply go to tradeshowinsights.com and click on Free Resources to discover toolkits, webinars, and more, including a link to sign up for the Trade Show Tips online monthly e-zine. Trade Show Insights is protected by the Creative Commons copyright license. You may feel free to share this recording with colleagues or embed it on your own blog, as long as it's shared in its entirety and is not used for commercial purposes. To learn more, please see the link in the sidebar of the show notes at tradeshowinsights.com. Well, that's it for this episode of Trade Show Insights. Be sure to check out our show notes and archives at tradeshowinsights.com. You can also connect with me using the social media links or the contact page on the site. I'm Marlis Arnold. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join us next time for more tools to improve your exhibit results.